folks. In this video, we will explain the Marvel's Infinity Gauntlet story within 20 minutes. This story takes off from the premise that Thanos has just been resurrected after being killed by the Infinity Stones, so he learns of their whereabouts and their true nature from the Infinity Well. Thanos is able to get possession of the stones and place them in the gauntlet, thus becoming the most powerful being in the universe. Before now, Mistress Death, who is responsible for bringing him back to life, has asked that he sacrifice half of all life in the universe. In this video, we'll be explaining in detail the Marvel Infinity Gauntlet. Stick around! Thanos has a new disciple who is flattering the hell out of him. Mephisto tells Thanos that they are both gods, or will soon be once they get all the Infinity Stones. There's even a large effigy in front of them that spells God in capital letters. But it seems Thanos isn't satisfied with the sculpture, and with a wave of his hands, the sculpture crumbles into stone and dust. Thanos' head starts to swell, and his ego becomes a lot more obvious. He agrees with Mephisto that none can challenge his bid to becoming one of the gods and to sit in council with them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Doctor Strange is his usual self at the New York Sanctum. He is keeping his mind busy by reading what seems to be an old copy of the Bible. As expected, Wong is close by, and as both men pass the time leisurely, they hear a loud crash. Upon checking for the source of the crash, it seems Silver Surfer has fallen through a window. He is also hysterical, which is something you usually don't expect from a being like the Silver Surfer. He tells Doctor Strange and Mr. Wong that a great danger is coming, and that Thanos is bringing with him great calamity not just to the Earth, but the entire universe. The Silver Surfer mentions that Thanos has been brought back from the dead by Mistress Death, and in return, she wants Thanos to do her bidding. The first thing on her list is to wipe out half of the universe. Mistress Death insists that Thanos must do this, and she doesn't care by whatever means. Thanos realizes the difficulty of such a task, and cleverly devises an easier way to go about it. He consults the Infinity Well and figures he has to gather the Infinity Stones to achieve the Universal Purge. Within the Soul Infinity Stone, Thanos encounters Adam Warlock, who challenges him, but Thanos had become too powerful, so Warlock casts a spell to distract Thanos before escaping to Earth to warn its people and heroes of what is to come. On his part, Thanos is so infatuated by Mistress Death that he would do anything for her. However, Mistress Death is not too impressed with his overtures, and this drives Thanos crazy, like she's playing hard to get. Then he gets the point and figures he knows exactly what she wants. In all his shows of affection, he has forgotten about her initial request. So he immediately gets up and attempts to actually wipe out half of all sentient life in the universe. So Thanos goes ahead and snaps his fingers. At that very moment, back on Earth, Spider-Man is out patrolling the streets of New York for signs of crime when he sees a few people down on the street level just disappear. The Silver Surfer also announces that he can sense that half of all life in the universe has been taken out in like manner. Even Wong disappears right in front of Doctor Strange. Silver Surfer now sees that all these souls now belong to Mistress Death. It was always what she wanted from Thanos. Doctor Strange reaches out to Dr. Hank Pym, but instead he gets one of his servants, who is a Minotaur. The Minotaur tells him that he is the only one who can help reverse the snap and its consequences. Doctor Strange agrees to take the risk of remedying the situation. Elsewhere, other beings and heroes start to come to grips with what just happened. Eros, who is Thanos' brother, has already figured out the source of this anomaly. He knows with all certainty that it's the handiwork of his brother Thanos. But as he begins to entertain the thought, Thanos appears right there in front of him. Surprise! It scares the hell out of him. Thanos takes Eros to a so-called family reunion where their father, named Mentor, is not invited. Nebula is there, as is Mistress Death. Eros tries to use his mindful powers of manipulation on Thanos, but to no avail. Thanos sees through him. For his troubles, Thanos uses the gauntlet to make Eros' mouth disappear. In place of it, there's just skin. Back on Earth, Silver Surfer wakes up from his trance, and the first pair of eyes he sees are those belonging to Doctor Doom. Before Silver Surfer can react, Doctor Doom's bots are already holding Doctor Strange down. Silver Surfer tries to plead the case for Doctor Strange, but Doctor Doom has something else in mind. He wants to know what the heck is happening and why half of all life has suddenly disappeared. He hopes to extract this information from Doctor Strange in whatever way he can. As Doctor Doom prepares himself to torture Doctor Strange into speaking, someone else arrives. It is Adam Warlock, and he releases Doctor Strange from the grip of the bots by ripping them apart. He also introduces himself and explains why he is here. He plans to gather Earth's assets to battle Thanos. Meanwhile, Thanos feels angry and frustrated at not winning the heart of Mistress Death, and since he has the Infinity Gauntlet on him, his anger is expressed through it across the universe. The tantrums he throws end up destroying entire planets. Earth is not left out and suffers a massive earthquake, but due to a protection spell cast by Doctor Strange, the Sanctum and everyone inside it are safe. Afterwards, Warlock and Doctor Strange form an alliance. Also, being the magical masters that they are, both men acknowledge that they sense a big problem is already brewing. Doctor Strange gets their plan into gear. He opens up a teleportation portal and they all get in. That is, Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, and Warlock. On the other side of the portal, they end up at the Avengers headquarters. They are met by the Hulk, Captain America, and Thor, who question the presence of Doctor Doom. But Doctor Strange allays their concerns by saying he represents an ally in the struggle. Doctor Strange says they are now here to assemble an army against Thanos. Strange subsequently opens more portals right there and then to invite a lot more of Earth's heroes who were not taken by the snap. Warlock insists they won't succeed without more cosmic-powered heroes, so Strange opens up another portal so Warlock and Silver Surfer can go through. On the other side, they meet a group of great cosmically powered heroes who have already been waiting for their invitation to fight alongside the heroes of Earth. So Warlock and Silver Surfer return through the portal and bring with them the much-needed reinforcements. Separately, Thanos' case has been tabled before the Living Tribunal. At the end of the proceedings, they conclude that Thanos has not committed any cosmic crimes. Their argument is that Thanos only seeks to replace the weak with the strong, and as the eternal law and judgment is concerned, this is not really a problem for the Living Tribunal. So Warlock decides it's up to them to take back their lives and what freedom rightfully belongs to them from the mad titan known as Thanos. A character like the Watcher decides he doesn't want to get mixed up in this fight and insists on his neutrality, just like the Living Tribunal. Nevertheless, Warlock admits that the super warriors they now have on their side should be sufficient to wage an attack on Thanos. Warlock and his team of cosmic heroes even try to recruit Galactus to their side. Galactus himself is annoyed that such non-entities would dare approach him. He thinks he is above them at all levels, so in reply he blasts Warlock out of existence. Or assumes he has. Warlock magically returns and throws a jibe or two at Galactus for thinking so little of him. The Watcher is caught watching Thanos and Mephisto, and his arrival signals something is up. Thanos figures his presence points to the beginning of hostilities against Earth's collection of heroes. Thanos looks over at Mistress Death and asks if she will stand by his side during the battles. Again, Mistress Death remains silent. The unrequited love is driving Thanos crazy, so he dares to make Mistress Death jealous. With the help of the Infinity Stones embedded in the gauntlet, he creates another woman by casting a spell with some incantations. Eventually, Thanos outgrows his infatuation for her. Now his mind is clear. Back on Earth, Doctor Strange opens the portal to where Thanos is. They are taking the fight to him. Doctor Strange also casts another spell that enables the heroes to breathe in space for the duration of the battle. However, he will remain on Earth and be able to magically evacuate anyone who has fallen in battle. Warlock and the Silver Surfer are the first to jump through the portal. Silver Surfer is assigned to remain on the wings as a reserve. He, however, wishes he was there with the rest, but there is no other way to execute the plan. The other heroes then follow through the portal one by one. Upon sensing their presence, Thanos swears that he will destroy these heroes and that they do not represent a real threat to him. He subsequently engages them in battle. Thanos takes the onslaught well, but Mephisto whispers to Thanos and also suggests that Mistress Death might become highly impressed if Thanos wasn't using any artificial or superficial powers to fight off his perceived foes. Apparently, women in general, and that includes Mistress Death, like to see a man as he really is, so Thanos agrees with this proposition and snaps his fingers yet again. Even at that, Thanos continues to overpower the heroes. The Wolverine claws get broken, and the Scarlet Witch's spell comes back around to her. Cyclops tries out a powerful beam but gets a box around his head for the attempt. Captain America tries to step in, but he is helpless as Cyclops suffocates to his death. Thanos also tears Vision apart as Captain America cries out because Cyclops is dead and they seem to be losing the battle. Thanos mocks him for being so emotional in the middle of fighting. It's actually a distraction, and so right then, the Cloak manages to trap Thanos in a dark dimension. But the timeout is broken when Cloak himself explodes. Firelord and the Destroyer lunge forward to attack Thanos, but he sends them through a portal to prehistoric Earth. Thanos gets momentarily distracted by Taraxia, the girl who replaced Mistress Death. He is applauding her when Spider-Man shoots some webbing at his face which blinds him. Then Thor goes in for the kill shot. He knocks Thanos down and is about to strike a fatal blow when he gets turned into ice. Thanos is about to smash the ice and Nova swoops in to stop him, but Thanos changes his mind and instead with a touch of his finger, he turns the ice into little cubes. He then proceeds to trample on them, shattering them into many more tinier pieces. Thanos turns to face the carrier of the quantum bands in the person of Quasar, but he proves to be short work for Thanos. Captain America is the last man standing and he honorably challenges Thanos. Thanos is about to end him too when Warlock signals to the Silver Surfer to execute his part of their plan. Silver Surfer whizzes past Thanos but misses. Thanos then proceeds to clear the battlefield of casualties, and so all the fallen heroes simply disappear. According to Warlock, all of that was only the first wave of battles. Warlock now says Thanos is about to meet a more deadlier wave of heroes. If the first set of heroes were supposed to be the easier way, these next set of fighters would surely make Thanos beg for mercy. So the second wave officially begins with Master Order and Lord Chaos forcefully demanding that Thanos hands over the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet. Thanos simply laughs at them and warns that they better tread carefully and not underestimate his potential. The battle ensues with a lot of grave consequences. Since it is cosmic in nature, it causes a lot of displacement that can be felt across the universe. The Watcher even attests to this by saying he senses the end of the universe as we know it. Meanwhile, Eros and Nebula are revived by no other than Mistress Death herself. Surprise! The cosmic beings pitted against Thanos start to fall one by one, and Thanos doesn't care that he is ripping the universe apart by carelessly wielding the gauntlet. But in the middle of battle, Thanos starts to feel the fires of hell, and Hellfire's Guardian has sensed that something is wrong with the balance of the universe. The Guardian reaches out from the fire and tries to relieve Thanos of the gauntlet, but he jealously holds onto it, and Thanos even grabs the Guardian by the throat. But then again, Thanos is hit by a blast of darkness by no other than Mistress Death. At that moment, the cosmic beings seize their opportunity to gain an advantage, but the attempt falls flat. Thanos is now face to face with the personification of Eternity. They fight it out for supremacy, but Thanos defeats Eternity and takes on his powers and essence. At this point, Nebula makes her move. She's able to steal the gauntlet from Thanos' body. She then curses Thanos and ends up absorbing the sheer energy of the gauntlet. Thanos is brought down to Earth to face his judgment. Warlock receives him and tries to read him his rights in a manner of speaking, but Silver Surfer cuts to the chase and instead starts to battle Thanos. The Silver Surfer is so angry and plans to destroy Thanos if he can. Silver Surfer is so vested in the fight that Warlock becomes concerned that it might go on indefinitely. So he tells Doctor Strange to do something about it. So Strange opens a portal and out come all the heroes we thought had died in the battle with Thanos earlier. These heroes go on to separate the fight between Silver Surfer and Thanos. They must decide on what to do next now that the gauntlet is in the possession of Nebula. Thor says he wants to speak with Thanos alone. Dr. Doom insinuates that Warlock and Thanos are working together. In fact, Warlock knows a lot more about Thanos' plan than he lets on. He was there when Thanos tried to obtain the Soul Infinity Stone. At that time, he discerned the heart and mind of Thanos. Warlock sensed that Thanos was always losing and had in fact lost victory 3 times. And the latest loss is the one where Nebula seized the gauntlet from him. For good measure, the previous Thanos defeat was when Captain Marvel smashed the Cosmic Cube, thus killing Thanos' ambition. Now it's Nebula's turn to shine with the gauntlet. First things first, she gets things back to where they were in the last 24 hours, so all the fallen heroes come back, but irrespective of this gesture, Warlock and Doctor Strange don't like the idea of Nebula, or anyone for that matter, wielding the gauntlet. Thanos is on the wings taunting Nebula about how she doesn't know how to use the gauntlet properly. He points out that she even forgot to fix herself first. She takes this suggestion in stride and fixes herself. Mind you, Thanos is the one responsible for transforming Nebula into the broken and bartered form she has become, so there's no love lost in that regard. Once Nebula has fixed herself, she imprisons Thanos in stone and prepares to face Silver Surfer, Warlock, and Doctor Strange so as to retain the gauntlet to herself. The cosmic beings also try to challenge her, but she encases them in stone too. Meanwhile, Warlock has whisked the Silver Surfer away to another realm, but the Silver Surfer is confused because he wants to be where the action is. Warlock tells him that this is all part of the plan and that he has been brought here because his powers work better in this realm. But before the Silver Surfer can complain some more, Warlock starts to expand in a bid to become one with the surrounding universe. Back with Nebula, she claims to have become omnipotent and declares the start of her self-styled astral dynasty. While Nebula is enjoying the glory of being all-powerful, Warlock observes that there is a universal disharmony, and before you can say jack, the gauntlet explodes and falls off Nebula's arm to the ground. The disharmony came between the stones because everyone was trying to claim the gauntlet as their own. Remember, the gauntlet was made for the sole purpose of unifying the powers of all 6 stones, and if the stones couldn't be harmonized, then there was no point to the gauntlet. So essentially, the vibe between the stones was broken by all the evil intentions of those who wanted the power the gauntlet could give, and this resulted in the gauntlet breaking apart. But in truth, the gauntlet isn't broken. This is because Warlock suddenly appears towering over everyone, and surprise, he is wearing the gauntlet. So all that disharmony stunting was a diversion. He now claims the gauntlet as his own and warns everyone else to stay clear of it. Thanos is still stuck in stone, and Captain America and the Hulk dare to challenge him over some unfinished business. But Thanos dismisses them and presses a button on his belt. In effect, he has initiated a nuclear device on his person to blow up in about 15 seconds. The ever-humane Silver Surfer questions Thanos on why he would do such a thing as kill himself. Thanos replies him by saying he'd rather die than be imprisoned in a cell to slowly lose his senses. And mind you, if the device detonates, it will take everyone with it. So Thor acts quickly by throwing his hammer in Thanos' direction and thereby launching Thanos into space. The belt soon explodes as everyone looks up into the stars. They all agree it's a fitting end to a personality in the mold of Thanos. Eros, who is Thanos' brother, steps forward to claim Nebula. Warlock says so be it and snaps his finger. Eros and Nebula then disappear. Doctor Strange and the others wait to be snapped back to Earth, but Warlock first tries to convince them that he means well. Doctor Strange says it's not that simple because humans have learned that absolute power has a tendency to corrupt. Thor also agrees with Doctor Strange, and there is a tense and awkward silence before they charge at Warlock. Warlock simply makes them disappear as they hinted at earlier. Warlock then takes Gamora with him to an unnamed planet. It's also 60 days into the future. When they arrive, she asks him why they're here. He says they're paying someone a visit. They find a house, and guess who comes out to greet them? It's Thanos, alive and well, living out his life on a solitary farm. Apparently, the suicide bomb thing was a diversion. Warlock chats a little with Thanos, who asks him what he plans to do next. Warlock mentions 3 words: computation, resolution, and confrontation. Thanos agrees that those 3 are enough to keep anyone who wields such great power occupied. Warlock leaves Thanos be and moves on in the company of Gamora and Pip. Thanos is now within the Soul Stone as its present guardian. The end. The Infinity Gauntlet series of comics was first published from July to December 1991 and has since spawned countless other crossover titles. Its relevance to the Marvel comic universe since it was first published remains till today. Evidence of this is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe Infinity Saga that spanned as many as 20 feature-length movies. However, only a few elements of the actual comic book storyline were borrowed from. It was originally a 6-issue limited series that was written by Jim Starlin and penciled by George Perez and Ron Lim. Since the time it was first released in 1991, it has been reprinted and reissued several times in various formats and editions. Obviously, the series' events are driven by Thanos, the well-known nihilist character created for Marvel by Starlin in 1973. When Starlin began writing Silver Surfer in 1990, he and Lim also began developing this new plot and story arc for Thanos that would extend for over 16 monthly issues. It would also include a spin-off limited series before concluding in the Infinity Gauntlet, which turned out to be the masterstroke of the entire project. So that's it, folks, and as Stan Lee would say, Excelsior! Please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to get up to speed on related Marvel comic book titles. Thank you for watching, and bye.